Hello, everybody. Welcome to my live Q&A session here on YouTube. My name is Marcy Melzer, and I am an intuitive speech and language pathologist consultant, and I help parents teach their late-talking children how to use the words they need to share their wisdom with the world. One of the ways that I do that is by do videos on YouTube. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I ran in here to get it, and I see that all my signs are backwards, so I'm going to pull them right down. Wasn't sure if the YouTube would be backwards or not. I actually have another sign. Look at this. I'm so slick. We're figuring out the YouTube live while we speak. So welcome to everybody who's watching me. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you for joining me. How this is going to work is I'm going to come on live every week here on YouTube, take questions from families, from parents, from providers, from pretty much anybody who wants to hang out and chat and talk about speech and language facilitation. Because here's the thing, I know there's a lot of people out there with late talking kids. More than 1 in 10, in fact, it's 1 in 8 children is late talking. That's a lot of children. In fact, almost everyone who's watching this knows at least another person potentially who has a late talking child. And there are so many things that parents can do to help your kids learn how to use natural speech. So what I do is I do these videos and I give a lot of tips and ideas and suggestions. And for families who want to work with me, you can join my Waves of Communication program and work with me as a client where I can give you the exact strategies you need. And if you're not ready for that yet, if maybe you have therapy at home, and your child is making some progress there, and you just want to know tips for what to do in between the therapy sessions, that's what my videos are great for. And maybe you don't have access to a speech therapist because you live somewhere that there are long waiting lists, or you don't have access to the funds to pay for a speech therapist. I mean, there's lots of people who need help from a speech and language pathologist, but don't have access to one. And so I do these YouTube videos to give access to this information to people all over the world. And I'm so fortunate to have some amazing people watching me, working with me in my program and making some amazing progress. So I'm so happy to see all of that going on. And yeah, so if you have a question for me today, go ahead and put it in the comments of this video, and I'm going to be seeing them. So feel free to say hi, and I'm going to be able to see. It's really a lot easier on YouTube than it is on Facebook to deal with comments coming in. So I'm really happy to, oh, the signs were fine. It says the signs were fine. Oh, then maybe I'm looking at it backwards. Sorry, Shavak. So is this sign backwards? Oh no, then I have messed it up. Ah, oh my goodness. I'll figure out the YouTube. You know what? I'm going to take it down. No, I'm even more. I know. There's more people watching me now. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm a little sillier over here on YouTube. I don't know why. Maybe I feel a little bit more free to sort of be who I am. I have to be honest, one of the things that I miss the most about working with families, I used to work with families, 30 families a week. I'd drive around and go to their house and sit on their floor, and they'd feed me and give me coffee and, all kind talk. I know all about their families and their kids and stuff. And now that I work online, I am hearing, the stories about families, but I don't get to sit in their living room and chat with them so much anymore. Now, all the families that I meet online are seeing me on my videos, and they give me wonderful feedback in comments and stuff. I'm very active over on Facebook. If you haven't seen me over there, I have many videos over there too, and I do a lot of posting and stuff. So there's lots of ways to find out about all the work that I do by reading my posts and watching my videos and things like that. But I think this opportunity to do a live Q&A video will help everybody to, sort of connect with me and see, like, if you're struggling with one of the strategies that were in my videos, you could reach out here on these weekly live Q&As to ask me about it. Or maybe, like I said, you don't have access to a therapist, and Shavak, the one who's been helping me out here, she's actually another speech therapist. So yeah, so I think everything is, yeah, it's going to be fun, this live video. So thanks for joining me. So if you are, give me a comment and certainly throw a thumbs up on liking this video. I don't want to stammer over my speech, and I do want to get to some content. So I know it's my first one. I'll get better at doing them live before. I'm just feeling a little giddy, and it's new, and yeah, just kind of trying it out. But I do want to share with you a Q&A, a real question that was presented to me today by a parent of a child who's 13. He is a child who's diagnosed with autism, and he is quite verbal. He was definitely a late talker. He didn't start talking till he was 7, and he is now 13, and he can talk a lot. But there are still some situations that he struggles with, and one of those things is to be staying on topic with conversation. But the other thing, and I talked about that on my Facebook Live video, but I wanted to talk to you today about the other thing that's going on for him. So this little guy, Ben, I did a video on YouTube about Ben, an interview with him. Has written a book with his mom, which is phenomenal, and he's sharing his ideas and all this stuff that he is all the stuff that he feels like autism is his superpower, and the title of his book is Maybe Autism is My Superpower. And we did this great interview, and in order to kind of get through that interview, we had to do a little prep work because exchange and conversation is not very easy for this guy. And what her next question is so his book is getting ready to be released, okay? In fact, I think it's like tomorrow is the release day. It's gonna arrive, and very excited. They're very excited to actually have the physical book to be able to sell. And they wanted to know, because, I do social media and stuff, how to get him, could they do another interview to publicize his book? But he's already got videos going viral and stuff. I said, you should be doing your own videos. Get on there and do videos with him. And she didn't know how to do that because, again, the idea of sort of jumping on and talking spontaneously is not this little guy's forte. He can tell amazing facts that he has memorized and in verbose, quote and repeat a whole video word for word. He has such an amazing memory. In fact, that's his superpower, one of his superpowers. So his mom is concerned about is, I said, now he's got a Facebook page and he wants to be on social media. He wants to become this viral guy who wrote a book and whatever, which I think is amazing for anybody. I mean, I'm trying to do it and my videos aren't going viral. So I think he does have superpowers, pretty honestly. But his mom is concerned about how to help him with his very structured way of talking, respond to people while they are, while he's trying to do social media and marketing and social, stuff like that. So, yeah. So, I see that the message is retracted. I don't know what I want to see. You retracted your message. Sorry. Somebody had posted a question and then took it back. Milano? I don't know. Hi, if you're there, thanks for joining me, everybody. Yeah, I'm not sure why your message retracted, but go ahead and try to post it again if you have a question. Yeah. I'm not sure why that happened, but try again and I'll see if I can get to it. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. But so we're talking about Ben and how I was how I was telling his mom to help him become more, better at doing interactive kinds of um, talking on video, because I said I think that it would be great if people could ask him questions just like I did, instead of me doing an interview that was structured and I sent the questions ahead and we had a little chance to study them, and that's why he did as well as he did in the video, because we did a little bit of prep work. So I told his mom that I would talk about some strategies today on my Q&A to help her and help any mom. So if you have a child who's verbal, so here's the situation, child's verbal, but they need to be able to answer questions, by in a conversation. It really helps to be able to have a conversation, and a lot of these kids aren't very good at the back and forth. So the first tip is to prep it. So you have to do some role play a little bit with a common topic, and pick a topic that has a lot of facts that you could have opinions about, like a taste of something, like milk. Some people like the taste of milk. Some people don't like the taste of milk. Something that you can have a lot of opinion about it, that it's not, there's a whole lot of facts. And because your kids who are memorizers like Ben is, in fact, it's a superpower, he's going to memorize facts and try to give you facts in response to questions, because that's what kids learn when they're tested in therapy, or even when they're tested in school. They read something, they're testing their comprehension by reading through a paragraph and then responding to and then answering questions about it, right? So they think the conversation, usually people in conversation ask questions. How are you? What did you do today? Where did you get the dress you have on? People spark conversation with questions, but sometimes kids who learn with rote memory, and kids with autism especially, don't know how to necessarily understand the difference between a question to test them and a question to ask their opinion. So you have to practice with these opinion-based questions, because ultimately we want to hear Ben's wisdom. We don't want to hear what he learned or memorized in those things. While that's very helpful and appropriate and super cool to watch him play like Simon with his eyes closed, but he really will be effective when as he wants to be a supermarket owner, to talk with his clients and his employees and get feelings and feedback from other people. If his mom can practice with him now the activity of that, sharing experiences together in a conversation, in some role play, but you have to work through it and practice it and work through those questions. So that's kind of how you do it otherwise. All right, we've got some questions coming in. So I'm trying to see. I know that a lot of people change their names on Facebook, so I'm not sure exactly what you're thinking. I'm gonna look over my glasses to read. My daughter is developmentally delayed and understands more than she says. Okay, and she doesn't understand everything, but I'd say 70%, especially familiar commands. Great. She's 2.5. I'm just looking for her age. I feel she should have more words than she does, but she doesn't. She has a tentative diagnosis of ataxic cerebral palsy. She has some signs, about 5 words that are not always clear. She's 2.5. She seems to understand yes and no receptively, but not expressively. Any tips to teach yes and no expressively? Okay. So, this is a really common question. It's kind of a time bomb kind of question. I'm not sure what your first name, but I'm going to say Milano. So Milano Richie. So Milano Richie, here's the thing. It just kind of like I was talking about with this other comment about that other boy. The idea of that whole yes, no is that I always ask parents when they want me to coach them on this is, why are you asking? Why are you needing to know that yes, no? Are you using yes, no to guess what your child wants and confirm her to say it, because that's sort of a tactic that parents use. They say, oh, do you want this? Do you want that? Are you hungry? They ask all these questions to sort of understand what their kids want, and they don't always know, the kids don't know necessarily how to answer those questions, because if they were able to use words to tell you, they would have already. So what a lot of parents are using that yes and no, because kids don't always give you a yes or no, like, do you understand me? Because they don't understand the difference between a confirmation question and a question to get information. So if you're saying something that confirms them, they're like, I don't know what the question is. Like, you're just saying what it is. So they're not sure about why you're asking the question. A yes/no question would be, is my shirt yellow? That's yes or no. So, yeah, see, it's making sense. Why are you needing her to say yes? I mean, it's important and I would bet you that if you asked her like a wrong answer, like if I said, is my shirt yellow? She would give you a negative response. Like, she would say no or yes if she is saying some words, and if she's ever saying it sometimes, when you think about it. So my tip is, what kind of yes/no question are you asking her? If you're asking her a question that's a yes/no, like, is it a do you want? Is it a way for you to confirm? And sorry, my cat's making noise. The way that you're gonna try to work through that, okay? So instead of trying to teach her to say yes or no to the words that you're guessing she wants, we have to try to understand what words she's trying to say. So let's say she is in the kitchen because she's hungry, and she's trying to tell you that, she wants food. So you're asking her, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? Instead of asking her that kind of question, ask her, what do you want? Ask an open-ended question. Say, what do you want? And then she's going to find a way to tell you. She's going to point, she's going to take you to it, she's going to some way. If you just ask open-ended, don't even ask, are you hungry? If she's in the kitchen looking around at food, she's obviously hungry. That's what you know. Don't ask her that question. That's obvious. She's already non-verbally communicated that to you by showing up in the kitchen. So your job is going to be to turn that into words. So when she shows up in the kitchen, instead of asking her, are you hungry? Just state the obvious. This is what I always tell parents. Just say exactly what the child has communicated to you at face value. They show up in the kitchen, you say, you must be hungry. Let's find a snack. What do you want to eat? And then your child's going to show you something. And then you can move on with your language facilitation to find out if that's a possibility, if it's a choice that you can have, or whatever. There are other very specific strategies that I can give families about requesting, but that's a very general one that a lot of people can do and shift. And I promise you that if you try this strategy with your child, and she is saying yes and no otherwise, first of all, when you say yes or no, is my shirt blue or yellow, not blue or yellow, or is my shirt blue, she's going to go yes, or she's going to go blue, right? Because the idea is you're telling her, my shirt is blue. Is my shirt blue? She's going to go yes, because it's true. And that's the right way to answer that yes/no question. So good, very true and helpful. I'm so glad that that was helpful for you, because it's a real common thing that families have this kind of problem where they're asking the wrong questions. And questions in general, when you ask kids questions who are late talkers, the thing you have to understand is your child is late talking. They don't have the ability to reach into their knowledge base of words and grab it and tell you the answer. If they knew how to do it, they would be doing it. So you keep asking them questions, keeping asking. If you're asking questions, I call that the quiz show. When families fall into the quiz show phase, because there might be times that your child did answer questions, or maybe in therapy, they're working on answering questions, because when we're able to ask kids questions, then we can get information out of them, right? But the problem is parents shift from asking questions to get information to asking questions to prompt speech. And the number one rule of language facilitation is we stop prompting altogether. And asking questions is a way of prompting kids. It's like if the child is sitting in front of you playing with a fire truck and you walk in the room and say, "What are you doing?" The child must think, "Do you not have eyes? Can you not see me?" But as parents, we don't think twice about walking in the room, looking at the obvious and asking a question about it. So what you want to do is shift from asking the question to stating the obvious. Instead of, asking, "What is it?" Just say, "You are playing fire truck. That is a cool fire truck. Red fire truck. Fire truck. Woo, 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 woo." If you walk in the room and say little phrases like that, just like that, you walk in the room, child playing fire truck, and you say, instead of saying, "What do you do?" and say, "Look at that fire truck. You have a fire truck. Push the fire truck. Fire truck. Woo, woo, woo." Think about what a YouTube video or a child's book would say about a fire truck. And say those phrases to your child, especially 2.5-year-old. And he's going to go, "Man, Mom, you sound like a video." And guess what? Kids like to watch videos and they like to listen to them. And they like it when you make silly noises and use short little phrases with sing-songy stuff in your voice. They like it. That's why they watch these videos over and over again. And if you change and sound a little bit more like those YouTube videos while you're talking, then you are going to win your child over, and they're going to want to look at you, because I promise you, looking at you is way more fun for your child than looking at that iPad if you make it fun, And I always say, if it isn't fun, it isn't fun. So, all right. Very true and helpful. I find that colors and shapes are really a hard concept to teach, not like animals and other objects. Any tips on teaching colors and shapes? So whenever I have a parent who tells me that they're struggling with a concept, or their child's struggling with a concept, or they're not really sure how to teach it, I always try to get them to link it with something that a child really likes. So if, colors and shapes, sometimes there's animal books that animals, like if you have colors and shapes, or if you have like little animals, if animals are something your kiddo likes, you probably have a bunch of the little tykes animals or little plastic animals. Doesn't have to be any kind, right? The farm animals, the dinosaur animals, any of them, right? And each one, I always love animals to work with because they make noise, and I like letters to work with because they also make a noise. They have a phonic sound that goes with them. So you can always practice sounds and words when you have animals and letters. But colors are the same too. I mean, they're all kind of all those concepts to teach together. So if animals are your child's really cool thing, and they're always really good at the animal sound or the animal name, then try to get your, however you're teaching shapes. So let's say you have a shapes puzzle and you have all the pieces that are all the shapes. Take it out of the puzzle, take the pieces out, and then take an animal and put an animal on each shape. And then you can talk about the animal with the shape. Zebra goes on circle. Where do you want to put the giraffe? Giraffe goes, and they let them put them wherever they want. And you just say it, right? Because again, we're just going to state the obvious. You're going to give them an opportunity to do something that lets you say the words together. So you get giraffe and circle, like you put the giraffe on the circle shape on the puzzle, and the giraffe, then the child knows that word giraffe. They already know that one, and then they're like, circle, giraffe, circle. Oh, that's the circle. This is the giraffe. I already know that word. It's a good way to teach that other word, because the word you're pairing with it is a word the child already knows. So they don't have to learn two words together, blue, circle. Like if colors and shapes are, don't work on that. But if colors are, a thing, then talk about the colors of the animals. And there's lots of books that have, purple giraffes and blue hippos and, yellow lions and, orange tigers and things like that. So definitely match the vocabulary that you're trying to teach with vocabulary that your child already knows. And another way you can do that is by doing actions with those things. So like, let's say the word in is a word that your child knows. They know to put things in, take things out. So use a bowl or a bin or a box or a bag or some kind of container and put animals in. So then you're going giraffe in, and then if you want to teach the other vocabulary, then swap out the animals for your shapes. And you got circle in, octagon in, and you can do those with the shape sorters that they fall in, but you can do it in a bowl just to kind of teach them all over. But the kid is distracted. Your child's distracted by that cool object of throwing it in the bucket, and they're not worried about it's the circle, it's the square, it's the whatever, because that seems challenging, right? If they're not doing it, if they're resisting, then they think it's too hard. So you have to make it easy by matching it with something that they do. So that box idea. Yeah, right. You're absolutely. Your daughter will love it when you play with the stuff that she has. So, take the puzzle pieces and play with the puzzle pieces. Take 5 blocks out of the block bin, just the 5 colors that you're working with. If you've got a bin of 200 blocks, just use 5 so you can learn those. And it's easy because you don't want it to be overwhelming for your child. You want it to be so easy that when you tell them over and over and over again, because you play the same games over and over and over again. That's how kids like to learn. They watch the same videos over and over and over again. If you got 5 toys in your house, I did a video on toy minimalism, pare it down to their favorite things and just play with their favorite things. And if they get bored, then it's time for you to get creative and find new ways to play with them. So you might have puzzles that sit in the bin. They do one puzzle and you've got all these other puzzles that your child doesn't want to play with, like the shapes and colors. They just like the animal one. Then put the animal one away for a while and you make those other shapes and color puzzles super fun, right? Because if it isn't fun, it isn't fun. And if your child thinks it's too hard, they don't know how, they're not really good at it, it's not fun. And how you get them to be good at it is you show them how. You make it really easy. So that's the best way. That's the best way to do it. So good. All right. I'm glad that you got some good tips. I've been at this live for about a half hour, and I really appreciate all you for watching. And if you're watching on the replay, so sorry about the beginning end. I'll probably download it and chop it out because it got crazy there at the beginning. But I love doing these lives. I love being able to interact with people. Milano, I'm glad that you found me today on this live video. Thanks for giving me likes. Share this video with your friends if you think, and let them know about my channel, because I do these videos. I'm going to do these live every week, and I post at least 2 educational videos every week, a hot topic video on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, a tip of the week that has practical strategies that you can use every day. And all those videos are in the playlist. You can see the playlist in my, on my channel. They're all separated. There's the hot topics. There's the Q&As, the other Q&As that I've done with other, if you want to binge watch, hearing me talk about other parents' problems, other parents' questions that they have. Those videos are great because I'm solving real problems for folks. And if you start to watch videos, if this is the first one you're watching and you go and watch some more and you have some questions and you're not sure about how to move forward with your child, or you try something just like we did with Melania, I'm happy to talk through it with you on these videos, just like I did now, to get you started, because I hope that you'll be back next time, Melania, and let me know how this goes for you, because there are folks who are using these videos and getting their kids talking. So there's a bunch of information in all of them, and I hope that you take advantage. And yeah, join me next time so that we can talk more about your kiddos. So thanks again for joining me today, everybody. I look forward to seeing you next time, and look for my next videos. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all on my next live. Bye-bye.